purpose for that. I saw a lot of new faces in that trailer clip that you had there. Any chance you'd be willing to talk about some of the guest stars that happened in the second half of the season?
Oh my God, it's been so great. I mean, obviously having Will back, and then with Felicia Day is amazing. She's just an amazing actress. She's an amazing person. And I owe Will big time for having introduced us, because there are certain characters, I think, like Dr. Parrish and Will, and actors who kind of just fit into our show. And it's just like, oh, there was a person missing, and now they're here. This is fantastic. And Dr. Holly Martin is Felicia's character. She is someone who is an expert in rocketry and all things outer space, and she is just pitch perfect. So she's phenomenal. We have Wally Shawn comes in, and I mean, sorry, that's like for me, Wally Shawn was phenomenal to get to write an episode with him.
I came in after his first day, and Erica would not stop talking about how great he was. And finally, the end I was like, look, I know I'm not Wally Shawn, okay? You've made your point. We ate dinner in a cold, steely silence that night.
Yes. Ming Na, I mean, come on, she's fantastic. Again, serendipity is a good thing. I happened to be on the plane back from Vancouver. She was doing, Stargate. She was doing her own show. And we were on the plane together, and Bruce Miller used to work with her when he was on ER, and they were both on ER. And I said, she was doing that thing where she kind of like pulled the plug out immediately, so I wouldn't talk to her, and didn't stop me. I said, hi, I know Bruce Miller, and he would be upset if I didn't say hello from him. And then the moment I said that, she was like, oh my God, you're my new best friend. And I still haven't gotten a kick out of my neck, because I was like this the whole flight talking to her. And by the time we landed, she was ready to be on our show. And somehow managed to be on the plane back and forth with one of our writers every time she was going back and forth.
She and I ended up on a lot of flights together, too. I would see her.
And I'll bet you did.
Purely by coincidence, Mrs. Wheaton, who's in the audience.
Who else? Dave Foley, fantastic.
Dave Foley came up. Dave Foley and I worked on Leverage together. And then Dave came up to work on Eureka like 3 weeks after we had worked on Leverage together, and he comes walking up, and he sees me, right? And everybody's geeked out because we all love everything he's done. And I guess Colin knows him from the old days. And he comes walking up, and I said, God damn it, Foley, you have to stop following me around. Stay off of my shows. He said that he would go wherever he damn well pleased. And he was right.
Gosh, am I forgetting anybody? I want to be sure I don't forget. And oh well, there's that guy. I have Phoenix Comicon and Linda Zaruchis to thank for Stan, because when I was came out last year, she said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to put you on the flight with Stan Lee, if that's okay with you."
Okay, he's going to sit next to Stan Lee for an hour on an airplane.
Or is it okay if you guys share a limo on the way back?
Okay.
Note to self, always travel with Stan Lee. I've never had it so good, I never will again. It was amazing. Like the amount of love that is shown to that man daily. And the thing is, when you meet, were you guys, some of you in this panel earlier? Stan, there are we who have grown up and dreamed of being in this industry and, working with certain people, there are those icons, those people that you hope someday you might get to meet. And, more times than not, it's always a letdown. I mean, I've had those people, you're like, oh, hey, it's really a pleasure to meet you. They're like, no, what's up? And then they're kind of off. And Stan not only lived up to every expectation, he so far exceeded them that there's a reason that we're still friends and in contact. I mean, he's just, he's an amazing figure, and he's changed the face of popular culture. So by the time we landed, he said, so when are you going to put me on your show? And I said, do you really think you're going to get on a plane? You're going to fly to Vancouver to be on the show that you've never seen before, you've never heard of it? And he's like, I like you, absolutely. You just tell me when and I'll show up. And he did. He actually did.
The day that Stan came up to work, I was really lucky to be in the same scene with him. And I watched our incredibly professional crew on Eureka turn into a stage full of fanboys. Every single person on the crew in Marvel gear, and like, it's like, oh, that's weird, did you bring your lunch just to set today? Oh no, you brought a bag full of comic books. And Stan was awesome. And Stan was like, I'll sign anything you want me to sign. And he just did it all, you know, and it was just so great and so nice. And just sat there and let me geek out at him about everything.
Yeah, Will's right. You know, our crew, of course, they're seasoned. I mean, they've been doing not just like our show. They've done huge feature films, all the other series. They've met everybody in the business. I have never seen them turn into such sweet little girls. It's amazing. Jason, who is our DIT operator in the Video Village, you know, he's like 6'3", this big guy, and he was just like, oh my God, is Stan Lee really going to be on the show? Don't get my hopes up. Stan really, Stan's coming on the show. And, you know, he was like, he met Stan, and it was like, you've changed my life. And Stan, you know, would you mind signing this? Stan says to me later on, he says, you know, everybody always asks me if I would mind doing this. He says, it is the easiest thing in the world to take a photograph or to sign something for someone. And how lucky am I that people care that they want my signature and want to take a photograph. It's just, of course I would. So that's it. Will, however, is a total douche about it.
Impossible, hate that guy.
You walk up to him and he'll say, ka-ching, show. He's amazing.
Sorry, you can't get in without a credit card to see Mr. Wheaton.
Did I see Aaron Douglas on there too?
Oh yes, of course. I knew I was going to someone. Aaron Douglas came over for an episode, and he's, again, one of those amazing people. We love all of our Battlestar programs.
I'm a huge BSG nerd, and we film on a bunch of Battlestar's old stages,
yes,
and there are still signs up on the walls, like safety signs and things, that have the Battlestar Galactica thing on them. And I walk past them and sort of like pet them.
You know, we got picked up for our show before Battlestar aired, and we knew that there was sort of like this new movement happening on the Sci-Fi Channel in general. And so, like in season 1, when we were up there shooting, was when they were making their first season 2 after they'd done the miniseries. And so I took my family up there and we walked around all those sets and jumped into Starbucks Viper. I have a photograph of my kids and my wife Kristen, all 4 of us in the Viper. It was awesome.
So say we all.
Yeah, we're these last 3 questions.
Okay, 3 more. Excellent.
I thought your portrayal of Kevin as autistic was really amazing. And now with the timeline change that's been taken away, are you going to explore that or have more autistic kids on the show?
You know, that was a very sensitive subject for us. There are a number of us on the writing staff in particular who have either people in our family who have autism. My wife, actually, Kristen, is an expert in the field of autism. Her research was on working with dance and movement therapy with kids with autism. And that character was, it was challenging for our actor, and it ended up being challenging for storylines. And it ended up being more difficult to have Kevin in certain stories, but it gave us, I think, a few seasons where it was really interesting to explore what it was like to be a working mom with a child with special needs. And, you know, he was a very special kid, obviously, his connection to the artifact, he's the most intelligent person in Eureka, all those things. When we were looking at the timeline shift, it was an opportunity for us to do drastically different things for our characters and see how they would react to them. And so in looking at Allison, because we knew that we were going to pull her out of being the head of Global Dynamics, but that's just a career change. On a personal level, what do we want to do? And we thought, okay, well, for her and Carter, we'll start to get them back together again, but then Tess is no longer gone. She didn't leave, so that's when the screwed out thing. It felt like there was more to explore there. And we thought, with so many of the people that we've known who had family members with autism, there was always that wish that I just wish I could connect. I wish that I could see inside of your head and know what you're thinking. And what would happen if all of a sudden she got all that? Except now she's completely unprepared. She's been used to always being overprotective and trying to figure that out. And now she has to know to adjust to what it's like to have this very independent, still hyper-intelligent, rapidly maturing teenager that she has to deal with on top of everything else. And so that's really where the storyline came from. And so I wouldn't say that we're specifically looking for stories that delve back into that realm, but it's certainly a part of the fabric of our show and those characters. Sure.
Hi. I have two questions. The first one is about the show, and the second is about my home. You guys film in Vancouver, and I moved here a couple of years from Vancouver. First one is, back in the first episode, we saw they were driving down the road. Our two favorite characters were driving down the road, and they saw
They pass themselves.
They saw them pass themselves. Will that ever be explained? Will ever find out what the heck was going on there? And two, Vancouver looking right now.
Vancouver is beautiful right now. All the trees, the cherry blossoms are in bloom. We're shooting in, our exterior town is actually not in Vancouver. We move all of our equipment and everybody up to Chilliwack.
The whack.
The whack. What happens in the whack definitely stays in Florida.
Thank God.
Wow, it's not pretty. But it's beautiful up there. That opening scene, actually, this is one of those times where I'm not quite sure how it happened. I think that yes, the answer is yes, it will probably come back around. And it's something that I've sort of reserved for maybe sometime when the series does come to an end. Hopefully that won't be for a few more seasons. But there was an actual version of the pilot where when they're leaving town, they pass themselves entering town again. So it was an anomaly that was caused by Walter Perkins' time machine, his tachyon collider that had just caused that ripple. Those damn tachyons. It always comes down to that.
I've been inverting tachyon pulses longer than most of you have been alive. And they're nothing but trouble. I don't care how aligned your dilithium matrix is.
I just want to say thanks for making this incredible birthday, first of all. And,
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, we should all sing. Ready?
No, we really shouldn't. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
This is getting recorded for the web. I think we can't do that.
All right, then. Go ahead.
and what's been your favorite episode shooting?
For Will? Or for
Both
me?
of you.
You first.
I can't tell you. I can tell you that there is an episode that comes up in the back half of this season that was...
So good. So good is what he was
No, we were in, there were 5 of us, and we spend most of the episode in a really small, confined space. And that, I don't think that gives anything away. I mean, you sort of find that out in the first couple of minutes of the show.
Yeah, I mean, there is a project that is given to Eureka, and there's back 10 episodes, and you saw a little bit of snippets in here. That sort of pits scientists against scientists in a way where they're all competing to be selected for this project. And so one of those episodes has what's supposed to be 4 people, but ends up being 5, stuck in this isolation room with a very mundane task to do. And that's the scene.
And that episode was a real challenge to film, but it made me, it reaffirmed for me my suspicion that we all know our characters, we all are proud of the show, and we all genuinely like each other as people away from work. Because it was such a small area, I mean, it could have been the most miserable filming experience in my entire career. And it ended up being really cool and really fun. Then there's this one scene in a different episode, which has my favorite scene of the entire season, maybe my favorite scene of the entire series in it, where I have this interaction with another scientist. And it's me, the other scientist, and Carter. And Carter's like, hey, you guys are scientists, what do you think about this thing? It's kind of important because it's in Eureka, so something's happening, and you probably should, like, fix it. And so I say, like, well, you know, it can be sort of like this, and the other scientist goes, and it can be like this, and then it wasn't written like this, but in rehearsal, the other actor and I figured out that we're both science geeks. And when you get science geeks together, and they talk about science, they become complete science geeks. The rest of the world stops existing. So, like, this thing is going on. Kind of important that we fix it, right? Carter's standing right there, sort of reminding us that, hey guys, the thing. And we go, oh right, the thing, and hey, did you know about this? And I know, because I was talking about this other thing. And then this... But check out this, I was thinking about this theory, and this thing, I know, and I totally did an experiment on that. And he's like, guys, focus, thing. And it ended up being a really funny, but entirely truthful moment for all three of our characters. And it's this thing that happened in rehearsal. And it was, we could have played the scene completely as written, where it was just like, we should do this, and yeah, we should do this. What do you think about this? Like, that was fine. But we decided as actors that we had a point of view about each other, and we had a point of view about the information that we were going to give to Carter and to each other. And as an actor, I absolutely live for those moments where something that's already a joy to perform surprises me. And I'm really grateful that I got to work with other actors in this scene and the director of this episode who were like, we were all just looking for a great thing that we could do. And there it was.
We have an amazing cast, and it's a pleasure to write for them because a lot of the time you can hear how they're going to say a line that you're writing, and then there's always this X factor of, oh wait, they're going to do something different with it. That's surprising, and how great is that? You know, the scene that Will was talking about with all these characters stuck in isolation together, that sounds like something that might get tiring after a little while, but it's actually so good. We ended up really long on this particular episode. I think this is it's 16, so it'll be number 6 in the order of the back 10 that are going to air. I actually, as I'm flying home tonight, right after this panel, I'm going to be watching the special extended cut that I just cut together for the DVD release. Because
oh, I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah, we've been trying to do that on the DVDs. You know, we're doing the director's cut of episode for Founders Day, for season 4, our season premiere, because there was just too much awesomeness in that, and we had to cut, like, we dropped the whole scene with Tess in the opening, which you know, they heard of. That scene will be restored, the director's cut stuff will be restored. So, but that's a great episode that Will's talking about. So you can look forward to that on the DVDs. So a couple more questions. I know we're running out of time.
No, that's it.
We're past time, actually, guys.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem.
If you want to ask me something afterwards, you can. I'll come over here. All right. Thank you, guys.
A big thanks to Jaime and Will for doing this.
Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it.
That's one thing I learned.